He was a crack addict, a crack daddy, and a crackhead.
What are we playing? We're playing some nice songs. So we're gonna finish this off nice. By NVS. Nice Guys by NVS off our album Save California. So many nice people in this world, a cesspool of kindness and ethical blindness. The blinkered back by the casting tone of a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. You're such a nice guy. Mr. Piss Drunk Fraternity guy, become an asshole, bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley for little women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you could give another fuck? Wear your backbone, say suicidal, and everyone know that you're a nice go. So damn cool, we're so impressed. Lots of chicks in a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys. Oh, you're assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. You're a nice guy. Oh, you're assholes. Nice guy. Roll up the limits. Why just can't understand? The body, but it's not the mind. Push with the mind, it's not the mind. Fuck off, jerk off, I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off, bring it to the lyric. Somebody's help, quench your thirst. Promise to remember that nice guys finish first. Mr. Whitebeater, you're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks to his fist. Pick which offension for messing with heads. Brokenness for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, into a double kill. But you're privileged to the hell, that's what you're doing for you. She pours in the pool of blood and cries. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look at you, I'm listening to your disease. There you are, I can't do it. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy, we're all nice guys. All of you are assholes, he's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. I'm in a mosh pit by myself, I'm fucked to a nice guy. Nice guy, roll the planets. I just tell us I'm a gimmick. I'm alive, I'm just a next time. Just for the one that's turning and over to the pine. Fuck off, jerk off. Fuck off, jerk off. Who's my free motherfucker? Nice guys finish first. Let's have another clover. That needs to the veins that worship any pain. Gone from the hour. Another ridiculous. We're all such nice guys. All of your assholes. Nice guys. Roll up the lettuce. That's only a better coming. Take fire for your face to the pine. Everybody knows that you're a nice guy. Nice guy. Roll up the lettuce. The part of pandemic might be the corner of your shit. But I'm good to suck my.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Plex. We do the show live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/EchoPlexMedia. You can support this project at EchoPlexMedia.com. Click the support tab. Members on either eplex.store or patreon.com/EchoPlex. Get the entire show, audio and video, in your inbox the next day. So that'd be Monday afternoon, let's say. Anyway, I'm producer Dave, and I'm just here to remind you that
everything's fine, and everything's fine, and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine, and everything's fine, and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine, and everything's fine, and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine, and everything's fine. I hope you have a real nice day. The weather, the traffic, the time, and the news. How's your commute? What do you do? Sorry, You know what they say. It is what it is. Ignorance is bliss. When it rains, it pours. Couldn't ask for more. What goes around comes around, all in good time. I guess that your guess is as good as mine. Everything's fine and everything's fine and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine and everything's fine and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine and everything's fine and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine and everything's fine. I hope you have a real nice day. Everything's fine and everything's fine and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine and everything's fine and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine and everything's fine and it's great. Thanks. Everything's fine and everything's fine. I hope you have a real nice day.
All right, everybody. Before we get started, obviously there was a shooting at a Trump rally yesterday. We're not going to cover that today. The information is all over the place. We don't have a lot of facts about it, and by next week we should have some more information about it, and then we can go back and show how all different kinds of people got it wrong. Particularly, I think on threads, like the blue and on threads around this yesterday was pretty intense. So we're going to get to the docket. Do you guys know that The View, there's still a show, it's called The View, it's still on. Apparently, they talked about the Joe Biden candidacy, and it was weird, stupid, silly.
I don't care if he's pooped his pants. I don't care if he can't put a sentence together. Show me he can't do the job, and then I'll say, okay, maybe it's time to go. Now, he had a bad night the first time that he went out and debated with Kamala Harris. And everybody wanted him to quit then, say, you can't talk to women like this, or you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. He came back, said, you know what, I got it, and gave 4 years. So, yeah, I have poopy days all the time. I step in so much poo you can't even imagine.
What? I think she means she has bad days, shitty days. I don't think she means that she poops her pants all the time, although that would be funny.
But I don't know anybody who doesn't step in stuff at some point. So I'm just simply saying, yeah, there are 2 debates. And if he can't do what he needs to do for the second debate, I'll join any crew that says get rid of him. But loyalty to me, if you are doing the job, I might not like everything you're doing. I don't like it all. But I'm going to stand behind you like those guys stand behind the guy who should have been the person people were talking about saying, yeah, Biden had a bad day, but this guy couldn't tell the truth if it split his lip.
So these are all from MRC, the Media Research Center. So that's pretty funny. Up next is here's I guess Anna Navarro from that same segment. She's supposed to be a Republican. She's weird. I don't like her. I don't like any of these people, actually.
Well, I gotta tell you, I'm worried and I'm pissed. Frankly, I'm livid. Because for the last 8 days, it feels to me, I have seen nothing but breathless reporting. It almost feels like media malpractice of them trying to score the winning goal against Biden. Who can have the gotcha moment? They've been splicing, dicing, cubing everything he says, putting on a microscopic slide, and then looking at it under all sorts of magnifying glasses. Look. Joe Biden is the nominee. He is the human being standing between us and Donald Trump. I think Democrats need to stop making the case against Joe Biden and start making the case against Donald Trump. I think the media needs to give some parity to the coverage that they are doing, because in their zeal to fact check Joe Biden, they too are making mistakes. Yesterday, I saw the Washington Post reporting that Ted Lieu had asked in that conference call for Biden to step down. Except a few minutes later, Ted Lieu went on social media and said, I never opened my mouth. Yeah. Then there was the entire thing with Mark Warner. Look, I saw Joe Biden the day after the debate. I saw him that night at an LGBTQ gala. I hugged him so tight I almost broke a rib. I thought the Secret Service was going to come. Girl, you got to go really deep to get my ribs. He's got less body fat than I do. But I saw Joe Biden. So I'm not an anonymous source. I'm not somebody pretending to have spoken to him. No, I actually did speak to him. And he was just fine. He had a bad night. And until Joe Biden tells me he is out, I am riding with Biden-Harris. Okay. And the second part of that, I think, is very important because they are a team. And Kamala Harris has come out so strong this last week as part of that team. And part of the reason I have no qualms about supporting Joe Biden, zero, is because I know that if something happens to him, like every other vice president, she will step in, and she is prepared, she is experienced, she is decent, she is compassionate, she is smart. She is far from the caricature that Republicans have tried to build with her. So you know what? I am with Biden-Harris till the damn end. Yeah.
Like, these people are so weird. Like, I don't care if they're with Biden or Harris. Here's another, I guess, they're calling her a fake Republican, Elisa Farah Griffin from The View.
The problem is this. The problem is this, most Americans are never going to get a chance to dine with the president or to be at fundraisers with him. 50 million people tuned into that debate, and it's going to be undecided voters and swing voters who determine this election. I believe...
Well, it's going to be the Electoral College.
I am horrified that my party nominated an aspiring fascist, and there is one way to stop it. It is in the ballot box. The courts are not stopping Donald Trump, so it is who is running against him. And I'm starting to question if Biden recognizes how big of a threat Donald Trump actually is. Because as George Stephanopoulos rightly pointed out, there's no example in modern history of somebody having Biden's approval rating, having nearly 50% of his own party saying they don't want him to be the nominee, they want someone else, and 70% of voters saying they're worried about his age, and going on 4 months later to win. I don't think we're just risking the White House to Donald Trump. I think you are risking a sweep in the House and the Senate. And I actually would argue, unpopular take, I think Kamala Harris would perform better because I think voters felt gaslit being told that Biden is as sharp as a tack. I think a young, energetic Democrat running and saying that they're at the top of the ticket actually will perform better head to head.
So that's sort of the View's take. It's interesting that the conservatives are the one on the panel, like making the stronger case against Trump. But, you know, somebody in chat was like, oh, you know, I have an uncle or a grandfather. What did they say? Their father thinks that people watch The View all day. The View probably doesn't get very good ratings. I mean, it probably does good for its time slot, and I don't think it's going to get canceled anytime soon, but I don't think that many people watch the fucking View. I could be wrong, but it's like in the middle of the day. Like, who has the time? Who has the time? Up next, we got Bernie Sanders talking about the Biden candidacy. I have 2 clips of that. Here's the first one.
What are you hearing from your fellow Democratic senators tonight?
Well, what I'm hearing from the people of this country, and I get around the country a lot, is that they want politicians to stand up for a working class and take on powerful special interests who are in many ways running our country. You know, I find it interesting. There have been, I think, 5 or 6 articles in the New York Times talking about what the donor class, right? This is what the donors are thinking. Really? The last I heard, American democracy was supposed to be about what ordinary people think, not just wealthy people. So I think the crisis that we're facing right now is that we need a Democratic Party to make it clear they're going to stand up for the working class of this country. They're going to tackle big money interest, and they are going to pass legislation which improves lives for all people, not just the few.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying.
Just remember, everybody, this could have been the guy running for re-election. It could have been Bernie fucking Sanders running for re-election. You know, coulda, woulda, shoulda. For all we, I mean, and it's a counterfactual, right? Because for all we know, if he would have been the nominee, maybe he would have lost to Donald Trump. But I don't think he would have. But look at how this dude is a fucking sharp and fucking just absolutely fucking squeaky clean, dude. Absolutely fucking squeaky clean. And you know, it's a shame. It's a shame. He didn't get the most votes though. I don't think nobody stole anything from him. I just think people were afraid of the that he called himself a social democrat or democratic socialist, which does mean capitalist, by the way. We got one more clip of this.
And you do believe that that is President Biden?
Right now, President Biden is the Democratic nominee. Until I hear differently, I will support him. And I do believe that if he makes it clear that he is prepared to stand up for working people, take on powerful special interests, yeah, he will win the election.
And if he does not run, would you support the vice president if he gets behind her?
Right now, Biden is the Democratic nominee, period.
The right answer.
Senator Bernie Sanders, thank you for.
I mean, that's the right answer. He's like, I'm going to support whoever it is. I mean, I don't know. It would. It's clear to me that the current president is not going to step aside. So this is all pointless unless something dramatic changes. I thought it was too late in like January. Honestly, I thought it was too late in January. But unless something dramatic happens, it's Biden. And I mean, it's, you know, people have to keep some things in mind, even if you don't like Biden or you think he's too old or whatever. Look at the people he hired. Look at the people in his administration. Sure, there's some finance ghouls, but not as many as Obama had. He hires competent people who we're not worried about violating, for example, the Espionage Act. So that's sort of where we're at. It's weird. Up next, here's we got some stuff on Project 2025. Here's a Brand Stelter who, I don't know what the fuck's going on with this guy. Check this out.
The critique of Biden right now is that he's stuck in the past, talking about his past accomplishments. So ironically, Project 2025, even though it scares a lot of liberals, it's actually a forward-looking plan. Biden would benefit from talking more about what Trump is proposing, what the Heritage Foundation wants to do, and to contrast that with his own plans for the future.
Calling that forward look, that is not a forward-looking plan. That is a plan that looks to the past and calls it the future. The Project 2025 could be Project 1825 in so many ways. But whatever, at least, I don't know, they're letting Brian Stetler back on fucking TV or whatever, so I guess good for him. Here's the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, talking about Donald Trump and Project 2025. Oh, I got this great website that Elon Musk is running. I think here we go.
We will be dealing with this for decades to come. President Trump has said we want to start the largest deportation effort in history. It's needed. We need to find all these dangerous people, criminals. They've emptied out prisons in Central America and sent them all over the border.
Oh, that's great. Fantastic. They want to just take all those people and just send them back over the border. Oh my God, what a fucking, like what? Like, listen, I think that this is kind of bad timing. I think that there's a way in which this Project 2025 and just heritage and heritage action more broadly getting a lot of press. I think this is bad for the Republicans. Just more, it doesn't even necessarily have to be about Project 2025. It's just this group, particularly heritage, getting a lot of press. I don't think it's great for the Republicans, and I think they're even though most Republicans that are running for office haven't even mentioned this, I think that they're pretty dramatically overplaying their hand here, because moderates don't like the shit that's in there. And when they said, "Oh, it's going to be the moderates that decide the election," it's going to be the moderates in like Pennsylvania and Arizona and Georgia. And I mean, if we're lucky, maybe Florida or Texas, but we're not going to get that. This ain't the one, friends. This ain't the Florida or Texas one. Might be the next one, but this ain't it. But that's one of the only good things that's going on for the Democrats right now is they have this Project 2025 to talk about. And I think that up until Election Day, they need to be talking about this, because this just scares regular people. Just the shit that's in it. You don't have to misrepresent it. You don't have to do nothing. You can be like, here, just open to a random page. And I think it just scares regular people. I think it scares moderate Republicans. And I think it may scare women enough that it drives more turnout among women, and women tend to vote for Democrats. And yeah, I think this Project 2025 might be the gift might be the thing that gifts the Democratic Party a decent showing in 2024, and maybe the thing that keeps the White House for Joe Biden, because it is like The Handmaid's Tale. It is so fucking crazy. It is the fucking craziest thing in the world, and it's the wrong. It's just the wrong time. They should have waited or done it in 1825. Up next, we got some news about Melania. And first, I guess she was a supermodel. I don't know. Was she a supermodel? I don't think she was a supermodel. Was she ever a supermodel?
And we have a former first lady that was an actual model and couldn't manage to be on the cover.
For starters, Melania Trump was a supermodel and a first lady and was approached by
she was not a supermodel, dude.
Or Annie Leibovitz to pose for
That's a good picture of Jill Biden.
I'm complicit. I'm the same like him. I support him. I don't say enough. I don't do enough.
No.
Where I am, I'm working like my ass. I know. Christmas stuff that, who gives a about Christmas stuff and decoration, but I need to do it, right?
Yeah, but 100%.
Dude, I kind of like her. She's like, who gives a fuck about all this Christmas stuff? She's like, why are they saying that I'm just like him? Yo, when this lady writes a book.
And then I do it, and I say that I'm working on Christmas, planning for the Christmas, and they said, oh, what about the children, that they were separated? Give me a break. Where they were saying anything when Obama did that?
I know.
I cannot go. I was trying to get the kid reunited with the mom. I didn't have a chance. Needs to go through the process and through the law.
But here's my thing. Hear what you just said. But instead of that, if your messaging, you were so loved.
They would not do the story. We put it out. They would not do the story.
I'm telling you.
You would not believe it. They would not do the story because they would not do the story because they are against us, because they're liberal media. Yeah, if I go to Fox, they will do the story. I don't want to go to Fox.
Yo, she's like out of the spotlight. I think they painted her. I think she was painted in a pretty unfair way. I don't think that's a dumb lady. I think she fucking knows exactly what the fuck's going on, and she knows. I think she probably knows that this is all fucking bullshit. Speaking of bullshit, did you know that Melania Trump is going to help Donald Trump win the gay vote?
This is actually Mrs. Trump's fourth event with our organization, the second one this year. Mrs. Trump has a long history of supporting efforts around unity and inclusion. And I think the work that Log Cabin Republicans does, as you said, we're the nation's oldest and largest organization of LGBT Republicans and conservatives and our straight allies. About a third of our organization is actually straight people. We are working to build a more inclusive Republican Party, but also to let LGBT people know that they have a home in the conservative movement. Mrs. Trump is about unity. She came to this country from another one. She speaks multiple languages. She came here and is a self-made woman having a very successful career before she married Donald Trump. She understands the importance of being judged on your character and your ability to do good work and to contribute to society, which is something that we as LGBT Republicans are fighting for.
Your organization.
That's the Log Cabin Republicans. They got the Log Cabin Republicans guy on the fucking a land of misfit anchors talking about Melania Trump going to deliver the gay vote because she's a fucking inclusive person. It's amazing. It's just fucking amazing. She's not going to deliver the gay vote. Gay people are not voting for Donald Trump. They keep saying this, that, the normal gays, the moderate gays, the regular gays that aren't hanging their ass out at Pride are all going to vote for Republicans. No, we're not. It ain't happening, friends. That's not going to happen. It ain't going to fly. Up next, we got Gorka, who is shockingly back in the media more, and he's going to talk about Kamala Harris and her qualifications.
Biden, it's not up to Joe Biden. When the big donors say, you're not getting a red cent, we are pulling the plug on the campaign, then the Democrats are going to say, Joe, what do you want? And right now, Hunter is negotiating. Yep. I want a pardon. We want extra bags of cash. You're going to give us sinecures. The hostage takers are now negotiating for the presidency.
But I mean, do these donors really think that Kamala Harris is going to do better in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania than Joe Biden would? I mean, that's
I think maybe.
Hey, Rob, you're being logical. Stop it. All right. She's a DEI hire.
What the fuck?
She's a woman. She's colored. Therefore, she's got to be good.
Colored.
And at least her brain doesn't literally freeze in mid-sentence.
Yeah. Matt, your final thoughts. And what do you think about what Sebastian just alleged there?
Yeah, I think there's been some pretty good analysis. And one of the main questions I keep getting is what's going to happen to the money they've raised? And there's been some analysis on that. And it's pretty clear that if Joe Biden's the nominee.
So I'm not a big fan of Kamala and her career, but by pretty much any measure, she is a pretty fucking accomplished person and was qualified to be the Democratic nominee for vice president and is qualified to be the vice president. She is not what they're calling this a DEI hire. You could just say anything else really. Call her a cop. Oh, they fucking pretend they love the cops. I keep forgetting. They fucking pretend they love the cops. Up next, did y'all know that there was some information about it? Jeff Epstein came out. And wouldn't you know it? There was a former president all up in that shit. This is Ted Lieu, who I tend not to like, but like whatever. He's just gonna come out and say it.
So like Chairman Aguilar said, we hear a lot from our constituents on different issues, but something I've heard that doesn't seem to be being covered are the Epstein files. These files were released, and like Donald Trump sort of all over this, right? There are pictures of him with Jeffrey Epstein. He's taken multiple plane flights with Epstein with young girls on board. He is on call logs with Epstein. One of the highest trending hashtags on Twitter right now is about Trump and Epstein. I'm not going to repeat the hashtag because we're in a dignified setting. But yeah, y'all might want to look at that because that's highly disturbing. And again, it shows that Donald Trump is unfit for office. And by the way, he was convicted in a civilian court for sexual assault, convicted in a separate court of 34 felonies. Donald Trump should drop out of the race.
I mean, he's not going to drop out of the race, but it is interesting how the very same people, a lot of the Q people are like, oh, we got to stop human trafficking and all this. And then anytime something, they're like, oh, the fucking Epstein, release the Epstein files. Then we get information about Epstein and they're like, oh, not those files. That's not the ones we were talking about. We need different ones. We need different ones. Because like it's weird because it should be like a nonpartisan thing. Like a bunch of ghouls continued to associate with Jeff Epstein after they knew what was up. Because if people remember, he had been convicted, and I forget when it was. He was convicted, got a slap on the wrist for, what was it? Was it travel to meet a minor? I forget exactly what it was, but it was some like lesser crime than what he was doing. And everybody knew that happened, and they all kept fucking associating with them. And I guess that's just totally hunky-dory unless it's your political enemies. But you know what sucks for them is the only one of their political enemies really that you see on that list is Bill Clinton. And he's out of the game, baby. You don't see no Joe Biden on that list. And you're never going to see on any of them lists was Bernie fucking Sanders. You're never going to see him on any of those lists either. So this Epstein thing isn't really playing out the way that the moral panic conservative movement would have wanted it to, like the Q people, because it's just not playing out the way they wanted it to. And but they get to just shut the fuck up about it. If like Bernie was on there, or if Joe Biden was on there, Chuck Schumer was on there, and people weren't talking about it, you'd have Alex Jones being like, and the news isn't telling you about this. But since it's their guy, that's the big revelation, is that he's actually more involved than people thought, or than he was willing to admit. It's crickets about that, I guess, for whatever fucking reason. Anyway, this segment is called Tiny Dancer Ben Goes to Congress.
Mr. Patel, Unilever ever advertised on the Daily Wire? Have you guys ever advertised there?
Wait, what?
Not sure if we've ever advertised, and I don't know the answer to that.
Mr. Julian, the companies you represent ever advertise on the Daily Wire?
Not that I know. Not that I know of, but if they wanted to, we would happily do it.
If they wanted to, but you don't know that any of them have. Yeah. Is it like I I think, what did he just say? 50 million viewers over the past 90 days. What did Mr. Nadler say at the front end? He said like 13 million followers that they have. I mean, there's a real audience there. What would you say your target group is? 18 to 48-year-old women, Mr. Patel?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Shapiro, you got any 18 to 48-year-old women who, of those 50 million people watching your stuff, or those 13 million followers, any of them 18 to 48-year-old women?
Again, according to our latest statistics, about 65% of my listeners are between ages 18 and 44, and about a quarter of them are women.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big number. I mean, you guys advertise, do any of the companies you represent, Mr. Jewell, advertise, let's say, the Washington Post?
Yes.
Do you advertise on The View?
Yes.
Mr. Patel? Same question?
We tend to invest less than 1% on any news.
No, that wasn't the question. Do you advertise on The View? Do you advertise on Washington Post? Any left-leaning program or platforms out there? Do you advertise there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you do advertise there, but you got a huge market here you don't. I mean, that's sort of the point.
Yo, they don't want to advertise on the fucking Daily Wire. What the fuck? What the fuck business is it of Congress whether or not somebody advertises on Ben and Jeremy's fucking, not Ben and Jerry, by the way, Ben and Jeremy's, their ice cream's probably not great. But like, what the fuck business is it of Congress whether or not at like any given, I assume those are people were representing like advertisement bundlers or like advertising companies, like sort of Mad Men style companies. And but it's you actually, I don't know if people know this, and you would think this would be a conservative thing, a conservative talking point. You actually have the right to not do business with, for example, the Daily Wire or the View or the Washington Post. You have every right to do business with or not do business with anyone you want for any reason, so long as you're not like violating, the certain aspects of the 14th Amendment. But don't worry about that. We'll soon be talking about that as what used to be the 14th Amendment. That'll get all gutted out and shit anyway. But it's just absolutely amazing. This is supposed to be the party of business and free enterprise and shit. And like, isn't part of business and free enterprise deciding where you think your advertising would be best fit for your client or for yourself if you have your advertising done in-house? Isn't that business? Isn't that like, don't they, why the fuck does Jim Jordan, I don't know. I kind of want to watch that whole hearing at some point, because do any of these people clap back at fucking any of these like right wingers and just tell them it's not Congress's business where we spend our ad money? Because I think that's the clapback here. You know, I don't like the model for media as it exists now, where everything has to be either supported by ads or viewer supported. I appreciate the viewer support here and whatnot, but I wish there was another other ways to monetize. But these people that do ads, they like do a lot of research to figure out. No, they might get it. They're going to get it wrong all the time. Everybody gets shit wrong all the time when it has to do with people, advertising, with you know, groups in society. People are always going to get it wrong. But they made the decisions to spend their advertising money in whatever places they decided to spend their advertising money. And unless they're breaking the law, and even if they're breaking the law, that's the fucking Justice Department's job, or probably more specifically like the state they're operating in, the Attorney General of that state. It's not the fucking business of Congress. Like, what the fuck is this? Don't worry, it gets stupider. Laura Loomer somehow got into this hearing. Not as like a participant, just as a person in the audience.
Sway the election.
What's she saying? I can't understand her. What?
Steal the election. That is why you're censoring and shadow banning.
How about it in? 12 and a half, 15, 7 and a half, $20 $30 down here to a half, 35, 7 and a half, 40.
Oh no, this is different. This is from the Jack Dorsey one, but the guy just started. I mean, that's how you deal. Oh, I thought for some reason it had to do with the Ben Shapiro thing, but it's fine to watch that. The guy that started like auctioneering when she started talking. Oh man. All right, everybody. Did you know? What's a crying shame is if you turn on the TV, it's been years, decades maybe, since you've seen an ad for Dove soap. I don't know, why would this be the business of Congress? Who fucking knows? Maybe the Dove brand, maybe the Dove soap should advertise on the fucking Ben Shapiro show.
My family has owned a grocery store since 1917. We have about 45,000 SKUs. It's a product I know really well, and growing up, my mom favored Dove soap. I don't think Dove soap has been in my house probably for over 15 years. We use Irish Spring now, And I was trying to think to myself, when is the last time I saw a Dove soap ad? Now, I am a conservative family.
Irish Spring is a superior soap, like a bar soap. Irish Spring smells so good. That's why you use Irish Spring, friend.
And I look at a lot of different outlets, whether it's online or whether it's TV or radio or everything you can imagine. I haven't heard a Dove soap ad in at least 10 to 15 or 20 years. So if I was responsible to my shareholders and I had to go there and I had to answer to them if I'm doing the best job possible, for your words, the protection of the brand, you're using these extreme examples of situations where the brand might be associated with a freak situation versus a normal family of kids. We never see a Dove soap ad, ever.
So there's a couple things that could be going on here with the Dove soap. One, maybe it's that they're a legacy brand and they don't need to advertise anymore because people are just in the habit of picking up Dove soap. It could be any number of things. I have no idea what it, like why there's no ads for Dove soap. I don't watch enough TV to know, but it could definitely be that there are just people who buy it anyway. So real quick, exclamation point, enter in the chat, just like Malord Ines did, and you can win a pint glass that Ali Drew was kind enough to give away. People on the podcast who don't know what I'm talking about, that's stuff from eplex.store. You should always buy stuff from eplex.store. And if you're here for the live show, sometimes there's giveaways. Up next, we got Josh Hawley goes all in on Christian nationalism as if he was not already all in. This is, of course, at some national conservatism conference. Let's see what he has to say here.
Some will say now that I am calling America a Christian nation. And so I am.
How brave. How brave of you.
And some will say that I am advocating Christian nationalism, and so I do.
So brave, so brave. Everybody knew he already advocated those things. So brave, so brave. But the thing is, like, I don't think this talking point about Christian nationalism is working, like, at least, like, in the way that I thought that people thought it would. People thought, well, you know, most people still care about this country being like a secular place with a freedom of religion, et cetera, et cetera. And people do, but what they really want is like freedom for their own religion. I mean, I like freedom of religion, because it allows me to, for example, not be religious and nobody fucking bothers me about it, which is fantastic. But I think a lot of people just want freedom of their religion. So up next, this commercial that was on, the Fox Business commercial was going around, and I didn't watch it, but everybody said it was kind of funny. So let's check it out.
This $2 bill features President Trump's mugshot. Donald J. Trump makes history once again by becoming the first former president of the United States to ever be criminally indicted. The powers that be have made good on their threats to get him by indicting him 4 times. On Thursday, August 24th, 2023, President Trump was formally arraigned in Fulton County, Georgia, and this moment in history created the first mugshot of a United States president. In the photo, President Trump displays a furrowed brow and a determined gaze, showing he's ready to fight. He says he will never surrender. Whether or not you are a supporter of the 45th president, there's no doubting the historic importance of this photo. That's why National Collectors Mint has taken crisp, uncirculated U.S. legal tender $2 bills direct from sealed treasury packs, then enhanced them to commemorate this event. The
enhanced.
Round
They've been enhanced.
Front and center in the portrait oval, flanked by images of the flag and President Trump's famous signature. His inmate number is inscribed below the photo. His declaration, "Never Surrender," is boldly presented on the bill. The final issue price was to be set at $39.
Oh, that's great, but it's only $2. It's got like $1 worth of print work on it.
However, during this special release, this full-color commemorative
plus shipping. How much is shipping and handling going to be on a fucking $2 bill? Like a stamp?
Be yours for only $19.95, protected by our 60-day money-back guarantee. Each full-color bill comes complete with a certificate of authenticity in a collector's portfolio for preservation and protection. There is a strict limit of 5 bills per caller.
So $10.
First come, first served. So earliest orders receive priority over later ones. So hurry, don't delay. Now you can reserve your own colorized Trump mugshot $2 bill of
colorized
disappointment and future regret.
Fucking Turner color, everybody.
Call 1-800-250-5167. That's 1-800-250.
Money back guarantee of purchase price.
5167. Strict limit of 5 bills per caller. So call 1-800-250-5167.
Don't order that fucking thing. First of all, it would be worth $2, except I think it's been defaced to the point where it's no longer currency anymore. It's not even worth $2 fucking. And I'm not even sure, like, if that would have been the cold open to Saturday Night Live, I'd have been like, that's kind of better than most Saturday Night Live stuff that I've seen. But nope, that's a real fucking thing that you can get. It was being advertised on fucking Fox Business. I don't know, whatever. Fucking maybe some people are catching that grift. I ain't catching the grift. Up next, usually about halfway through the docket, we have palate cleansers. And these come to us courtesy of the Discord. Many of them courtesy of Allie Drew. Always finding the best palate cleansers. This kitty is a goalie.
Kediye doğru gitti bakın. İşte o kedi. Kaleci yoksa ben varım diyor. Hakem oyunu durdurdu. O kediyi alın oradan diyecek. Kedi ağlarda. Ağlara takıldı. Şimdi çıktı.
Good job, kitty.
Kedi sahayı terk etmemekte kararlı. Belki kaleci o güne ben kediyi...
Is that cheating to have a cat there too?
Tutarım. Sen de benden bir şeyler kaparsın.
Oh shit, get him, kitty.
Kedi yine geldi.
Oh, the kitty quit. Oh, the kitty's like, I'm gonna walk off. That was cute. The kitty is a great goalie. I'm really glad we had that. That's from the Cats with Jobs Twitter. Everybody should follow that because there's a lot of great stuff on there. Here we go. What happens when a cat attends a news interview? We also do Catterday on Catterday, but oftentimes our palate cleansers here on Sunday are also cats. Look at that cat. Was that live? If that was, I don't think that was live. I hope that was live. That'd have been great if that was live, but I doubt it was. But it'd have been very funny if the guy on the Today Show just absolutely fucking lost his shit because the person he was interviewing was like, nah, we're gonna do a cat instead. And we got one more palate cleanser here. Where have all the good girls gone?
Where are the girls that are just super laid back and chill?
What happened to a good girl?
Where have all the good girls gone? It's a question that's devastated millions of men across the nation. But what is the government doing to solve this crisis? With no action being taken, men across America are taking matters into their own hands. Now, take me back to the moment you realized, now wait a second, where have all the good girls gone?
Well, I was at a bar and none of the girls were approaching me. The chill girls would approach me because they're chill. But I tried talking to some other girls and they told me they had boyfriends, which was probably a lie. I knew I had to take action. I started posting flyers around. I did community support groups. We won't stop until we find the laid-back, loyal girls who don't care about bottle service or taking bikini pics, right? The good girls. The good
As
girls.
the search for the missing good girls continues, local men are taking matters into their own hands while governments are cracking down under pressure. More on this later. I'm Francine Beluga. This is Channel 6 News.
I love her. She's always so funny. Where have all the good girls gone? Also, I don't know. I think that the guy that they showed probably gets plenty of attention from women. He was cute. He was cute. little bit of punk rock. So up next, we've got a story about a local police chief. It's not that local. We've been following this other story about a local police chief, the guy who is just completely fucking QAnon pilled and posting hella conspiracy theories, and then hired like another guy who's like fucking hella pilled. This sheriff is actually the antidote to that. Or no, this is the new Miami police chief. Holy shit. Oh, New Miami, not like Miami, Florida, but a place called New Miami. This is actually in Ohio. But again, this guy's the antidote to that incredibly pilled police chief.
Now, a local police chief's been fired after village officials say that he refused to take a drug test.
Yeah, Jessica Schmidt is at the alert desk with what we know right now.
Yeah, so we just got a bunch of records that we're still digging through, but these records do show the New Miami Village Council voted to fire the police chief, Harold Webb, effective June 27th. A notice of termination letter says Webb was fired because he was ordered to take a drug test and refused to do so. In an undated letter written by the mayor, Jewel Hensley, the mayor accuses Webb of falsifying timesheets as well and of cashing his paycheck, even though he knew he was still required to show proof he'd actually been at work. The mayor also claims that the police department smelled like marijuana. That led to the village solicitor sending a letter to Webb on June 24th saying that due to recent events, the mayor was demanding that Webb take a drug test. Records show Webb did go to a medical center the next day, but refused to actually take the drug test. Webb later texted the mayor saying that he would resign. He also told the mayor that the police department had smelled of marijuana because they'd seized some on a search warrant. And Webb said he didn't take the drug test because there was a witness and it was belittling. Village council members then voted to fire Webb again, effective on June 27th. In a statement just released to us today, the mayor told us in part, quote, "It is time that residents of the village of New Miami know they have a mayor and council who will be working to put the community's needs first and do everything within their power to make the village of New Miami a safe, clean, and thriving community." We're told police officer Dan Bauer is now the acting police chief, and council members are expected to make that official at their next council meeting. At the alert desk, Jessica Schmidt, Fox 19 now.
You know what? I just feel like that's the kind of police reform we need, is just a fucking police chief, just fucking staying with his name by chiefing it the fuck up. Just keep the police office. Keep the police office chill. Keep the police department chill. Keep everybody high as fuck there. Up next, I don't know the context of this, and this is a little outside of my wheelhouse, but a lot of people were resharing it, and I just called it Get Wrecked. There were people, I guess, speaking to a group of black folks trying to convince them that conservative was the way to be, something like that. And, well, didn't go great for them. Not a fantastic showing.
There was a vote about the representative, the local representative, that brought up an amendment to the defense bill to reinstate a Confederate monument that has a depiction of a mammy receiving a white baby from a Confederate soldier. Of the 4 people that voted to have that reinstalled, 3 of them, 2 of them on the stage, 3 of them were our black Republicans, right? Of the 4 black Republicans, 3 of them voted to yay on that. That vote almost passed. Something like 206 to 192. I don't understand, from descendants of black slaves, why you think that isn't a principled position. So I think when we talk about to black men, it seems deceptive to come in here and talk about issues and then vote what seemingly isn't based on principle.
The point I'm making is that I actually do understand where
you don't
I totally recognize
obvious.
the value
It's
of that.
obvious.
And what I want to say is, at no point in time will I ever be a victim. That's why I'm
Everybody
sitting
has a
here right
story,
now.
is my
And
point.
I don't care what the name
What
of
are
the
you
statue
gonna
was,
do?
and I don't care what the name of the building is.
What are you going to do?
I don't care what the name of the building is, because
I'm a black
I
guy. This is a
am
conversation
not.
for black men, and all I hear is people that are non-black trying to hush.
I love, okay, so they do this thing, and I see Ben Shapiro do it, or any of these people when they're like, somebody got wrecked in the audience. What they'll do is security or one of their staff will hold the mic and then take the mic away after the person asks the question, or after the person on staff or security decides the question's over. And in this case, at least, like, the room is small enough that dude doesn't really need the microphone. He can just holler at the guy.
I came here from my family.
I think we had security.
But I'm getting all the stories.
I need you to talk with respect. My goodness, this is not kindergarten.
Wait, that was not disrespectful. He raised his voice to be heard. He was not disrespectful. He wasn't aggressive, anything. That man was he just rose his voice to be heard because they took the fucking microphone away from him. Did anybody hear anything there that was fucking a problem?
Said the words Jim Crow.
I didn't hear nothing there that was a problem. I mean, you took his mic, and so he raised his voice because he wasn't done talking. We have security. We have a security problem here. You're being disrespectful. He was not being disrespectful. I didn't. He kept talking when you thought it was his turn to shut the fuck up, but that's a lot different than being disrespectful. You could have just said, hey, you've asked your question. You can get in line if you want to ask another question. Even that would suck though, too, because like they're supposed to be having this is supposed to be one of those, we're going to have a dialogue with black men and share with them the conservative values. And then the guy's like, are these your values? And apparently they were not too happy with that. So again, before this clip, we got another giveaway. People in the podcast listening, gives some incentive to tune in live. Anybody can hit ! Enter. That's as written in the post there, ! ENTER. And you can win a Rainbow Disco Goats mug with the colored handle. Anyway, we got Don Jr. We got, he's having some audio issues. Love it. I've done this. We've all done this. Anybody who streams, does anything live, if they have a producer or they're self-produced, we've all done this where you're talking and your microphone is off.
Can't hear you. No sound. All right, it's fixed.
I like that part better.
How much of that did you guys miss? All right. I think we're back. Sound check. Still no sound.
No, the people.
Audio's back. Okay.
Well, that would have been better if he would have just done his fucking cocaine Don rant. But we've all done that. I just think it's kind of funny when people have like money and somebody to hire as a producer to do that. It's one reason to wear headphones, because if you're wearing headphones, you can hear yourself. Up next, I guess here's what Don Jr. thinks would happen if Trump picks Marco Rubio as his running mate. I don't think Trump's going to pick Marco Rubio as his running mate. What the fuck? Hasn't Marco Rubio said all kind of nasty shit about Donald Trump? Anyway, whatever. Here's what happens if they pick Marco Rubio, everybody.
Rubio guarantees another impeachment. It has to be Vance or Vivek. I mean, listen, there is, and again, I have a good relationship with Marco, but there is some truth about having someone that's a little bit more establishment in there. It's like, when the Senate rhinos, wouldn't they love that? I joked, I said that about Nikki Haley. It was like, if it gets her, by the time my father's hand moves off the Bible in the swearing in process on what's the date? Is it January 20th? 12 p.m., January 20th. The second it goes off, it would be like impeachment and gone. That's how fast it would be. And so there is something about having someone from outside of the establishment to sort of further protect you from that establishment.
Marco Rubio is not going to be the pick. I could be wrong. Maybe Marco Rubio hasn't said a bunch of nasty shit about Trump, but Marco Rubio has tried to rebrand himself as a more moderate person, and being the running mate of Donald Trump isn't going to be the way to do that here. Here's one of my favorite things that happens. This is Hank Kunneman. He is a right-wing prophet of some sort, something like that. I love when they forget. I love when these pundits assume that because the election was in a certain year, that was during the year the election happened, the person who won that election took office. I love this. So this is Hank Kunneman talking about the year 2020 and some of the things that happened then. A problem for him here is that Joe Biden wasn't the president in 2020.
And I feel from the Spirit of God that we, the people, must not become empathetic towards this fake Biden. That's what I always call them, the fake administration. Okay, they've been playing a game with us for a long time. Come on, we forget 2020. We forget how they put upon us a fake scamdemic.
You dumb. Do you remember when people were blaming Obama for shit that happened in 2008? This is the same thing. There's the fucking, yo, motherfucker, that wasn't the president. Trump was president.
They told us that masks were going to keep us safe from a COVID virus. They told us about, social distancings of 6 feet, which Fauci later on said, I just made all this up. They were all part of this. They were also part of, setting these cities on fire and encouraging people to.
Yeah, that all happened under Trump. And no cities were caught on fire.
Standing for God and for country.
There were fires. They happened during uprisings, but the whole cities weren't on fire. Minneapolis, a lot of Minneapolis burned, but there's some evidence there that it was that some of the fires at least were set by the Boog. If you don't know who the Boog are, look up the Boogaloo Boys. There's some pretty strong evidence that at least one of the fires was set by the Boogaloo Boys, because they have their own agenda that really doesn't have anything to do with really anything that we would consider like normal politics. They want to see the thing fucking burn down, and they don't care really how they go about it. Up next, we got Tiny Dancer Ben praying for Joe Biden.
So you ask Biden, will you feel guilty if you lose, right? Like if you stay in too long and then you lose to Trump, your legacy is that you turn the presidency back over to the guy you say is a threat to democracy. Are you going to feel guilty at all? Biden's like, what is guilt? What? I don't know. No.
That's a Ronald Reagan impression, but all right.
And if you stay in and Trump is elected and everything you're warning about comes to pass, how will you feel in January?
I feel as long as I gave it my all and I did the goodest job as I know I can do. That's what this is about.
This interview is 22 minutes long, by the way. It's not an hour because Joe Biden is not capable of going an hour.
That's 22 minutes is half of an hour television show, including commercials.
CNN reported that after the interview, Team Biden thought he did amazing. But of course they're going to say that, because what are they going to say? That he did horribly? So here is CNN reporting on the Biden team's reaction.
The Biden campaign thinks that the interview last night did exactly what they wanted it to do. And in their thinking, they think that it showed a president who could respond to these questions, do so in an articulate fashion, and really push back against the concerns about his cognitive health. So they're looking at this as a win, seeing it as a strong interview. And really what the president was doing in that interview was showing defiance, dismissing the concerns and the critics about his candidacy.
Okay, there's only one problem. No one actually believes that. Now listen, as a person who wants Donald Trump to win the presidency, I wish that the entire Democratic Party bought into this narrative. I wish they bought into the narrative that Joe Biden were doing just fine. Let me tell you, my synagogue, right, which is filled with Orthodox Jews who all think that Joe Biden is a terrible president. My synagogue is going to vote 105% for Donald Trump. I can tell you,
do voter fraud.
There's a prayer that we do every week for the government of the United States in the middle of Shachri, which is the morning prayer. Okay, and that prayer involves a prayer for the health of the President of the United States. Never has that prayer been said with more fervor than in my synagogue this weekend. Because everybody who wants Trump to win is like, I hope that this guy lasts. Like, truly, he's an awful candidate. I hope he sticks around.
That's weird. Your church isn't really supposed to be doing politicking, and yeah, that's weird. But whatever. And also, I think he's lying. I think he's probably just lying. Who knows, though? Who knows? Ben could be going to a very, very weird church. Up next, we got Candace Owens talking about the Third Reich and ethnic cleansing. And, well, wouldn't you know it? It was actually the Allies doing the ethnic cleansing, not the Third Reich. So this will be fun.
In this case is Germany, Nazi, Hitler, the greatest evil that's ever happened on earth, even though factually and statistically it is not. And part of that learning process for me when I started looking into it was coming across a huge fact that we ethnically, the Allies, ethnically cleansed 12 million Germans. Because when you say to people, okay, what is it about Hitler? Why is he the most evil? Well, the first thing people would say is, well, an ethnic cleansing almost took place. And now I offer back, you mean like we actually did?
So war is, what do they say? War is hell. But we have like different definitions for things for a fucking reason. the carnage of World War II was horrifying. There were regular people regular Germans, people who opposed the Third Reich to the extent that they were allowed to. The bombs were indiscriminate. People died. A lot of people in Europe died. Many of them civilians. But we talk about genocide and ethnic cleansing as something separate from that, because it's something separate from that. We glad a bunch of fucking civilians die in war? No. Is that ethnic cleansing? Generally not. Don't worry. Candace done fucked up here. Or as the Clown World Twitter account says, Candace Owens just obliterated Eminem, which is just not true. I'm not confident that Eminem is inclined to clap back, but if he does, it'll be great.
Because there's a lot happening here. First thing I want to say is Eminem is obviously a gay man. It's very sad that Eminem cleaned out his closet but never came out of his closet. But let's get to these lyrics.
Wait, why do you... So, strangely enough, Eminem was one of the first hip-hop artists to come out in favor of like gay rights and stuff, even though he used the F slur in his music. And, you know, when asked about it, he just said that's just was in my music. He's like, he doesn't really say that that he doesn't like try to make up any fucking stories about it. He's actually been pretty good on this stuff. I like him. He's been decent on this stuff. So I don't think he's gay, because I think if he was, he could have, not right away, but by about 2010 or 2012, he could have come out. I think it would have been fine.
Lyrics, I'll read them to you. He writes or says or raps, and Candace O, I ain't mad at her. I ain't gonna throw the fact BITCH forgot she was black at her. Oh, laugh at her like them crackers she's backing after her back is turned.
That's great.
In a cute MAGA hat with her brand new White Lives Matter shirt. Haha, nope. Or say this MAGA dirtbag in a skirt just opened the biggest can of worms on the whole planet Earth. Call her Grand Wizard, yeah, Candace, haha, or Grand Dragon, or like the national anthem, I won't stand for the tramp. Why? But I can diss her, because my plans are to get in her pants, and I'll blow my chance if I answer back to her. Oh, but I can't diss her because his plans are to get in my pants. Ew, you disgust me. Okay, a lot going on here. I think
I would like to, if it weren't for copyright, we'd go find the original verse and play it.
And remind people that he is in fact a struggling internally gay man, and so there's a lot happening with Eminem, and we should pray for him. On the second point, the way that we know that is because he's actually recycling things that black women have said about me on the internet. Like, he's pretending this is original, calling me Candace. It's not. This is like,
is he pretending that's original?
The black women that don't like me on the internet have a lot of names for me, one of them being Candy O. So he's like watched what they're saying, and I guess someone who was listening.
Did you see that? He's watching. Did you know that a music artist would pull things from culture and include them in the music?
Yeah, this is a good one. Yeah, drop the beat. They're really, really, really, really going to like that. By the way, there's a second song he also dropped. This one's called Bad One. And the lyrics are this about me. Yeah, this whole subgenre with all these corny white rappers, I'm not a fan of it. It ain't my fault, but like sock puppets, I had a hand in it. This $1,000 in my hand is just like what Candace did when she turned her back on her own race, because I have abandoned it. Oh!
I bet that's fucking, I mean, she almost sounded good reading those lyrics. The dude is fucking just incredibly talented with words. Just
oh my, so cool. That's a tough one. That's so tough. The black community is going to be going crazy. Not. I don't think that's going to happen at all. Actually, I'm doing this because I want to help him go viral, because this is sad. This is very sad. I want you to feel sad for Eminem, because this is just.
I don't feel sad. I mean, he's talked in his music and in interviews. He's talked openly about the things he struggles with. I don't feel sorry for him necessarily, but he hasn't had perfect life. What is she talking about, though?
Career to go down the drain, and I want us all to do our part to help.
Like, not only like just stuff about like, not only just being pretty cool about gay people while in hip hop when that wasn't cool, but also his lyrics talk about his own mental health, the mental health of people close to him. That song "Stan" talked about the mental health of one of his fans and how he, as an artist, he couldn't help because it's a song about how he was being inundated with attention, and then one of his fans, Stan, we now talk about it, is standing someone. Like he's so much of culture. There's just a lot of culture that was shaped by M.
Relevant again, at the very least, and he can be relevant just by me speaking about him. He understands that. By the way, I did TMZ earlier, and they were asking me, like, in part, though, aren't you honored that someone who's recognized as the greatest white rapper of all time is dedicating all of his time to you? And I said no, because it would have meant something if he was at his prime. As an example, Dave Chappelle, he made a really, honestly, it was kind of a hideous joke about me. I didn't think the joke itself was funny, but I did appreciate the fact that Dave Chappelle, who is the most famous comedian in the entire world at the peak of his career, was mentioning me on stage. Like when he was very sad about George Floyd and he did this whole skit and he said some awful things about me, I did have that moment where I went, wow, Dave Chappelle knows who I am. This is not that with Eminem. He is not at the peak of his career. He's at the end of it. His career should have ended like 15 years ago, and he keeps going. And so
I don't know. Those bars look pretty good to me, dude.
This is not a rapper that's at the top. He's actually doing he's going through a strategy that a lot of new rappers do, where they find out who is the big rapper and they start a beef, right? He's like, nobody knows who I am, so I'm just going to start a beef with Candace Owens, and he's just.
But you're not a rapper.
Fading out of the American mindset entirely. So this is what he's come up with. And I want to say this. Genuinely, the pander here is pathetic. He's literally making a plea to the public. I hate white people. That's what he's saying. He's calling white people crackers. He's using a slur against his own people, while at the same time, unironically, accusing me of doing what he's doing. He's like, she turned her back on her own race, as he turns his back on his race and calls them crackers. I've never used slurs.
Does she not understand? She doesn't understand, like, she's never listened to hip hop. She must just not be interested. So much of hip hop is oozing with irony and sarcasm.
Why Black Americans, because I don't have an issue with my race.
I mean, I'm not super into hip hop, but I know that irony and sarcasm are a big part of the lyricism of hip hop. You almost have to be, your stuff almost has to be dripping with irony and sarcasm.
Much have an issue with yours. And the other thing is, like, he doesn't even know what his audience is. Again, this feels very maybe could have done something in 2016 when the whole world was, so anti-Trump and it was the George Floyd moment. He doesn't even understand what's happening. I mean, that conversation has broken in the Black community. That's why Trump's numbers are up. Beyond that, I've been on the Breakfast Club. I've done Joe Budden. Like, Black Americans are following this podcast. They actually like me. I went viral on a few of those channels, on Instagram channels the other day because of my conversation with Don Lemon. They're starting to hear what I have been saying, because back in 2016, when I was saying Black Lives Matter was a fraudulent organization, people were not ready to listen to that. But then what happened was they proved that they were a fraudulent organization, and people said, I think Candace may have been trying to tell us that, and she was right, and maybe I need to listen to her rather than listen to what other people are telling me about her. And one of those people that they're not going to listen to is you, Eminem, because you're just so irrelevant. Your music isn't good anymore. And like I said, you're the one that's actually cosplaying a race that you aren't. You're desperate for Black Americans to pick up your tracks because you abandoned the audience of a lot of people who were listening to your music. I'm a trailer park kid, and then what did you do? You dunked on kids from the trailer park. You dunked on actually an entire middle class of white people who loved your music.
She's talking about the two trailer park girls go around the outside.
You dunked on people in the country. For what reason? For what reason other than you misread the room? And the way and the reason.
I don't think he ever claimed to be from a trailer park, right? Wasn't he from like Detroit?
Is because what's actually happened to Eminem is he's an out of touch elitist. He is. This is what happens. He is now a lefty elitist. He belongs on a campaign trail with Hillary Clinton when she runs for the third or fourth time. That's what he should be doing, because he's pretending to know anything about what's going on. The reality is that a lot of those people in the country that he doesn't like, take it from me, I moved to Tennessee, have a lot more in common with the people that he's trying to appeal to. I think he thinks he's appealing to, like, the hood. They have a lot more in common because these are regular people who are suffering in different but similar ways, who recognize that the economy is not good and an Eminem track is not going to make it better. Here's the last thing I want to say about Eminem. He is a lesson to a lot of people out there that you need to know when it's time for you to retire. You don't want to retire.
But what if you want... Hold on. So he's not a superstar in the way that he once was, but does that mean that he should just stop making music? That's fucking stupid. What if he wants to keep making music and put out music? What if it's like what he wants to do? Because he clearly likes hip hop and rap music and likes creating it. So what if he wants to put out music, and what if it isn't as good as his old stuff because, like, times have changed and he's not doing anything that revolutionary in rap music anymore? Then what? Lady, if he wants to keep making fucking records, he's going to keep making records, and it ain't got nothing to do with you.
This note, right? Eminem is 51 years old. He has not modified his brand at all. He's not grown up. Most people know that you do have to evolve your brand, right? You can even see this as just one example. Miley Cyrus, like in 2016 or maybe a little bit before, she was like shaking her butt. We can't stop twerking. And now she's cleaning it up and she's singing music that's still catchy, but it's not so crass. And she's actually giving interviews saying that, this is who I was because I wanted to break out of the Disney shell, and this is who I am, and this is where I'm going. And I don't think she gets it right all the time, but I can at least recognize that she's evolving. Eminem's not evolving. He still thinks that he's a 13-year-old boy.
Except he's not saying in his music anymore at all. He's evolved I think he's evolved with hip hop on some issues. On some important stuff, actually. I think he's evolved with hip-hop. He's just not 20 anymore. He's not the new, when he came around, like, nobody rapped like that. Nobody looked like him in hip-hop, like, the whole package. And, like, not for nothing, the biggest hip-hop artist possibly ever took him under his wing and helped him at the beginning, and so he had, like, Dre beats behind him and shit, like, yeah, it's not going to be the same because it's fucking... How long has it been? And he's not the most popular rapper in the world. It's time to pack it up, friendo. What the fuck?
Who is rapping in his room, and that somehow people are going to find that appealing, when in reality, he's 51 years old. His daughter, or maybe he's older than 51, his daughter has just gotten married, which means that Eminem should be behaving more like a potential grandparent. He's granddad.
That would be super cool if Eminem was your grandpa.
Granddad shady. You know what I mean? But granddad is not acting like a granddad. I'm going to need granddad to start acting like a granddad and not producing this trash to pander to the black community. That's what I want to say on that point.
So wait a minute. She went from he should be showing up at a Hillary Clinton rally to now that he's trying to, well, which is it? Who's he pandering to? Because it sounded like she was trying to say that he's pandering to, like, the shit libs and, like, the fucking... like the elite liberals, essentially, and that's different than the black community, and that's like one of the rubs that the Democratic Party hasn't been dealing with so effectively lately, actually. I don't know, fucking get him, M. Fucking, I don't care if you rap about Candace or not. I probably am not going to check out your new music. But fucking just, I don't give a shit what if his new song sucks? Then what? Who fucking cares? Let the man make a song. Finally, we got Jordy Pete and his wife Tammy Pete. Love Tommy Robinson. We're going to play this clip before we go into red light. Don't worry, on Wednesday we will not be playing this full interview. We will not watch Jordy Pete and Tommy Robinson.
I've been following Tommy for quite a while, but you were quite instrumental in arranging this discussion. So why did you do that?
Like,
why?
Very long time ago, and supporting you as well. Why did I want to do it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Why do you trust him?
Why do I
She's like, I'm a fascist too. What is that thing on his arm? Can anybody look up the thing on his arm?
trust him? I don't know. I had a pretty disagreeable Irish father. And he was a smart ass, you know? And I trust Donald Trump. I trusted Donald Trump all along, too. I don't know. I know when...
You like disagreeable men.
I like men who have values that they'll stand by, and they are brave and say what they mean. I think we need men to stand up, and we need women to figure out their crap, because we're causing a lot of trouble. And I'm going to try to help with that.
She's like, we need men to stand up for their shit. Women, maybe we need to shut the fuck up, is what I got from that, right? I think she's going with, oh, women are causing all the trouble. They keep doing this. Oh, women are causing all the trouble. They're feminizing men. Making men feminine. Men aren't men anymore because women are, I don't know, they're fucking being doctors and shit. I don't even know what it is. So I guess that's the show. Don't worry. Stick around. If you're watching live, we'll be going into red light in a few minutes. If you're listening on the podcast, thanks for tuning into the podcast. If you want the whole show, including the post-game red light, you can get that at eplex.store at patreon.com/echoplex. $5 a month. You can get that. If there's a specific episode that you want the rest of the show, though, just email me. I'm not legitimately paywalling an MP4 or an MP3 file on you for $5. But I do appreciate the support, and I do this for a living, such as we can call it that. So obviously it'd be great if people could financially support. Anyway, I guess we're going to play Boomers by Periscope and head on into red light. Thanks everybody again for listening, and thanks everybody for kicking it during the podcast portion of the show. I know for the live viewers, it's probably not as fun hanging out during the podcast part of the show, because I will not talk to you generally. This is Boomers by Periscope. We'll be back with red light.